Number 10. Domestic dog fights of wild canines. After being adopted by a family in Kanaka Bay, British Columbia in 2010, a King Shepherd puppy named Sarco quickly became a beloved community member. He formed a close-knit bond with many local residents, but was especially close with his owner, 16-year-old Joseph Phillips Garcia. Sarco's protective instinct proved to be life-saving when he and Joseph got into a car accident during a family road trip in 2014. The pair were thrown from the vehicle as it veered off the road and rolled down a steep cliff. They landed at the bottom of a ravine where they remained stranded for the next 2 days. During that time, Sarco refused to leave his injured owner's side. He fought off cougars, bears, and coyotes, while Joseph drifted in and out of consciousness. At night, he kept the teen warm by snuggling up to him and brought wood to him so that he could build a fire using a lighter he had in his pocket. Sarco also helped his owner get to a nearby creek for drinking water. In addition to keeping Joseph as physically safe as possible, Sarco provided much-needed emotional support, giving the young man the strength he needed to survive as they waited for help. Rescue finally came after a concerned relative went out looking for the family and found Joseph and Sarco, who were the only survivors of the accident. An aunt, cousin, and a friend all lost their lives. Phillips Garcia suffered from a broken femur and collarbone and underwent surgery for his injuries. He was still mentally and physically recovering from the traumatic ordeal a year later when Sarco was inducted into Purina's Animal Hall of Fame for his life-saving bravery. Number 9. Real-life Paw Patrol. On Christmas Eve in 2020, 36-year-old Janrel Fuentes Revilla was riding his motorcycle in the central Philippine province of Cebu when a puppy began barking at him relentlessly from the roadside. Realizing that the canine was trying to get his attention, Janrel pulled over. He followed the dog to a grassy area where he found an abandoned newborn baby boy wrapped in a towel with his umbilical cord still attached. Janrel took the baby to a hospital where social workers began the painstaking process of trying to figure out who the infant's parents were. In the meantime, a non-profit called Hope for Strays found out that the heroic puppy wasn't a stray, but that he was lost. The pup was reunited with his guardian, but it was clear that the impoverished family needed help. Once the news circulated, the local community donated food and supplies to the puppy's caretakers. In the end, both the newborn baby and the puppy were taken care of. At the time the story broke, authorities were still trying to identify the infant's family and had appealed to the public for information. Number 8. Boston Terrier rescues baby girl. When the Connecticut-based author Kelly Andrews' 9-month-old daughter fell ill one day in 2021, she laid her down in her nursery to rest. But her terrier Henry started acting especially concerned. Using his head to push the nursery door open, he repeatedly went in there and woke the baby up. Kelly initially felt annoyed because she thought Henry was misbehaving. She became increasingly frustrated as he continued to go into the nursery. Finally, the exasperated mother got fed up with the dog's behavior and went to remove him from the room. When she entered the nursery, she saw that her baby had stopped breathing and was turning blue. Kelly and her husband rushed the little girl to the emergency room, where doctors cleared her airway. After realizing why Henry had been so persistent, the mother of two credited the dog with saving her daughter's life. In a heartwarming tweet that soon went viral, she said, "I don't know what would have happened if we hadn't woken her. We don't deserve dogs." Number 7. Family pet makes the ultimate sacrifice. Leroy Butler and his 2 young children were fast asleep in their Bradenton, Florida home one morning in 2019 when their attic caught on fire. The smoke alarm went off briefly, but malfunctioned and failed to alert the family. Realizing that something was horribly wrong, their Jack Russell Terrier Zippy barked until everyone woke up. Butler told local station WTSP that by the time Zippy's barking snapped him out of his slumber, the entire ceiling was engulfed in flames. Luckily, he and the kids managed to escape through their front door right as the home's upper level began to collapse, filling the entire first floor with flames and smoke. Leroy tried going back inside to rescue Zippy, but he was unable to get to the dog, who was separated from the front door by the raging fire. Zippy died in the blaze. In an emotional interview with WTSP, Butler said, "He was a good dog. He did his job. We rescued him. and I guess he returned the favor. Number 6. Shelter dog saves unsheltered child. An abused dog named Peanut arrived at the Delta Animal Shelter in Rapid River, Michigan in 2016 and soon found a loving forever home with a new family. On a cold winter day in early 2017, Peanut let her owner, Kyle Frisk, know that she wanted to go outside and that she wanted him to follow her. She led him to a field behind his house where he found a 3-year-old girl curled up in the snow by herself without any clothing to protect her from the freezing cold. Frisk took the child inside and dialed 911. She was okay, but that might not have been the case if Peanut hadn't found a way to let her owner know that something was wrong. Kyle's mother, Linda Frisk, told local station WJMN that emergency responders said the girl likely would have succumbed to the cold if she had remained outside for even just a few more minutes. Sadly, when the police tracked down the little girl's parents at their home, it became clear that the child and her sister were living in unsafe and unsanitary conditions. The kids were removed from the household and placed in foster care while prosecutors reviewed the case to determine their next steps. Linda Frisk said that she thinks Peanut's discovery of the little girl was meant to happen so that authorities would learn about what was going on in her home and get her and her sister into a better situation. State Representative Bo LaFave awarded Peanut with a tribute from the state of Michigan for her heroic deed. Number 5. Dog rescues drowning tot. In a horrifying close call that nearly claimed her child's life, Patricia Droch found her 14-month-old son floating face up in the swimming pool outside her Michigan home one afternoon in 2012. The little boy was blue and unresponsive. Just a little while earlier, Patricia and her son had gone into their garage together to retrieve a shovel. She found the toddler in the water after realizing that he had wandered off and was no longer in the garage. The family's black lab, Bear, was swimming beneath the boy to keep him out of the water. Patricia pulled him out of the water and tried to call 911 but couldn't get a cell phone signal. She put her son in her car and drove to a nearby fire department for help. In the meantime, she managed to get cell service and dialed 911. The little boy regained consciousness while she spoke with the dispatcher. Emergency responders examined the child and determined that he was in good condition. Just to be on the safe side, Patricia took him to an urgent care center where he received a clean bill of health. The mother of 4 told MLive Kalamazoo that she had always told Bear to watch out for her kids as if they were his own, and he certainly lived up to the expectation when he saved her son's life. Patricia said that she planned to keep a closer eye on the tot when they went outside, and that the family was counting their blessings after the near drowning. Number 4. Police K-9 tracks down missing kids. One afternoon in 2022, 3 little boys between the ages of 7 and 9 were riding their bikes together in Magnolia, New Jersey, when they went a little too far and got lost in the woods. 2 of the kids, who were brothers, were under a strict order from their grandmother not to leave the block, but they couldn't resist the temptation to explore and wound up nearly 3 miles, 4.8 kilometers away from the neighborhood. After realizing that the children were nowhere in sight, the boys' grandmother, Cherise Evans, called the police and began to search frantically with help from nearly everyone in the neighborhood. Hours went by with no sign of the missing trio. Officers found their bicycles near a creek, but still couldn't find the kids. Realizing that the missing children were possibly getting further away with each passing moment, they called in the Gloucester County K-9 unit. A 2-year-old bloodhound named Shiloh picked up the boys' scents from their bed sheets and led his handlers deep into the forest. They knew they were on the right track when they started seeing footprints and found some sandals. The officers told local station WPVI that the boys had planned on trying to survive overnight in the wilderness and that they were just as relieved to see the police as the police were to see them. Shiloh was rewarded for a job well done with liverwurst and praise from Gloucester County Sheriff Jonathan M. Sammons, who also commended the officers who participated in the search. The kids expressed their gratitude toward law enforcement and Shiloh for getting them back to safety and spent the rest of the summer much closer to home. Number 3. Lady versus Mountain Lion. Most people think of their front yard as one of the safest places their children can be, so it probably came as a shock when Virginia Havens and her husband realized that their 4 kids' lives were at the mercy of a 6-foot-long, 1.8 meters mountain lion who approached while they were playing outside one day in 2022. The couple realized something was wrong when they heard the family dog, a pit bull Chihuahua mix named Lady, making unusual noises near the driveway of their home in Idaho Springs, Colorado. At the time, Virginia was inside preparing dinner, and her husband was outside washing his car. He looked over and saw that a mountain lion was stalking the children. Despite being much smaller than the big cat, Lady fearlessly tried to scare the mountain lion off, giving the Havens a chance to usher their kids safely inside. Moments later, Virginia heard the heartbreaking sound of Lady's pained cries. The mountain lion had clamped its jaws down on the dog and had no plans to let go. Responding officers fired non-lethal bullets at the mountain lion, who eventually relented and let go of the dog. Lady managed to run to the house, but was catastrophically injured, leaving her heartbroken family with no choice but to have her put down. Virginia was devastated by the loss of her beloved pet, but credited Lady with saving her children's lives. Speaking with Newsweek, she acknowledged that the encounter might have ended with a completely different type of tragedy if Lady's nanny instinct hadn't compelled her to protect the kids. Number 2. A two-time hero. In an adorable rescue that was captured on camera, a German Shepherd stopped a little boy from falling into a pond in Shenzhen, China one day in early 2022. The video shows the dog sitting in a yard and watching two young children playing together when one of the kids accidentally throws a ball into a nearby fish pond. The child runs off to tell her mother, while the little boy goes over to the pond and tries to retrieve the toy. He starts to lose his balance and is about to fall into the water head first when the dog approaches from behind, bites his shirt, and pulls him backward. While the water appears to be shallow, the boy could have still drowned or been seriously injured if he had fallen in, especially if he hit his head on one of the rocks surrounding the pond and lost consciousness. Thanks to the quick-thinking shepherd, he was visibly shaken but uninjured. After getting the boy to safety, the shepherd can be seen grabbing a nearby fishing net in his mouth and scooping the ball out of the pond with it. He drops the net onto the ground, picks up the ball, and delivers it to the little boy. It's clear, based on the child's reaction, that he was grateful to his canine companion for stopping him from falling into the water and getting his toy back. Number 1. Pup protects baby from deadly plays. Erica Peremski experienced a parent's worst nightmare in 2016 when she stepped outside of her Baltimore home for just a few moments and turned around to find the house engulfed in flames with her 8-month-old daughter inside. There was a power outage in the neighborhood that day due to a severe thunderstorm, and the house had somehow caught fire from a burning candle that Erica had left unattended. The distraught mother could hear her baby crying from an upstairs bedroom and repeatedly tried going back inside to get her. In the meantime, neighbors kicked in doors and windows in an attempt to rescue the infant. Peremski later told ABC7 that her dog Polo remained with the baby the entire time and that he refused to come downstairs and exit the home. The little girl was still trapped inside when firefighters arrived. They found Polo shielding the baby with his body. She suffered from severe burns and lost a lot of oxygen to her brain and was hospitalized in a critical condition. And while she faced an uncertain future, Polo's heroic deed spared her from certain death and gave her a fighting chance of survival. Polo died in the blaze, leaving Erica heartbroken as she prayed for her daughter to pull through. Thanks for watching. Would you rather see your dog put his or her life on the line to protect a total stranger from a wild animal, or risk your own safety and dive into an ice-cold pond in the middle of winter in an attempt to save someone from drowning? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye.